So, this time, it's official, guys. The NSO Overhaul, codenamed the Integration Update, has been deployed to the live servers. This update actually dropped faster than I thought it was going to. Like, yes, Christmas has come early in a way, but it really did catch me off guard. I thought we had more time on the test server. And due to the sheer size of this update, we are going to be here for a couple of videos getting through everything in the detail it deserves. G'day there once again, viewers. This is your mate Kamikaze78 here, and today, guys, we're going to be unpacking the much anticipated NS Overhaul update, one of the biggest content drops to have ever hit Planetside 2. Well, there's no denying it, guys. With an update of this size and scope, I'm truly left wondering where the hell do I start here? 35 new infantry weapons, 2 new vehicles with 16 new vehicle weapons in tow, an overhauled max suit, 11 new directive trees, big system changes to how NSOs operate on a fundamental level, and on top of all that, some pretty big gameplay and balance changes outside of the NS Overhaul itself. I think it goes without saying, guys, I'm not going to be able to get over everything in one video here today. We are going to be approaching today's video as an overview and filling the gaps over the coming weeks with more dedicated videos on certain topics regarding this update. But I just want to reiterate this now for anyone who is just coming back into the game and hasn't really been keeping up to date with the NS Overhaul related news. The NS operatives are now a free-to-play faction in Planetside 2, available to all players with at least one character that has been ranked up to BR20 or higher. Anyone who joins this faction will act as a freelancer who supplement the existing 3 factions in the game based on population levels on the continent the player joins. Players with an active membership can choose to align their NS operative to a faction of their choice and join an outfit on that faction. Free-to-play players cannot join an outfit in their natural freelance state. And the first thing I want to do here is get some clarification out there on what is easily the elephant in the room regarding this patch: how existing NS outfits are going to be handled. When Rel announced that these NSO communities would be disbanded with the release of the update, the chaos was a little off the chain. But a compromise has been made based on feedback. Throughout the summer, the developers will be providing a window for larger existing NS outfits to move their communities to a home faction of their choice and keep their existing outfit structure intact. Now, this hasn't gone live with the patch, as additional tech needs to be worked on in the back end to make it possible, and that tech is TBD, which means that currently, existing NS communities will be unable to recruit new members and be unable to use their war asset armory. They essentially follow the freelance rule set until the developers can get this tech rolled out. But should outfits want to bypass the wait, they are able to disband and reform a new outfit on a home faction from today, should they want to get things kicking off straight away. This ensures that those core communities can still remain to be an element of the game, just in a slightly different form, and still be required to work within the confines of a predetermined faction per se, which I think is a great step. I think it would be still good to see outfit leaders of these NSO groups have the opportunity to switch the faction allegiance of the outfit on the odd occasion, but whether or not the tech is there to accomplish such a thing is another question. There were talks of smaller outfits and solo fits being disbanded during this update, but we've not heard any more details on that with the release. But to be honest, them being disbanded ain't really a big deal. Solo fits just shouldn't exist in the first place, and this is coming from someone who is in a solo fit, and an outfit simply isn't designed to be a glorified friends list that shares pocket orbital strikes. Sorry, but it's simply true. So, some good news there, I'd say. But let's take a look at the content of the update. Now, guys, as we alluded to before, this is a total revamp of the entire armory, so we're going to be getting some dedicated video content out for everything that has been released in the coming weeks. We have already done a video testing the 29 new baseline infantry weapons that have come to the faction, and I'm not going to go into too much detail on those weapons today because of that, so if you want more information, you can find that video linked via the card on your screen currently. As far as the vehicles are concerned, well, we've got 2 new vehicles to test out here: the Chimera and the Dervish. The Dervish takes on the role of a heavy fighter that sports a secondary top-mounted gunner position that can ward off tailing aircraft, whereas the Chimera is a 6-seat battle tank that sports 4 external rumble seats for infantry transport capabilities. I know that many of you wanted dedicated videos on these new vehicles ASAP. and those videos are now on the top of my priority list with the release of the update, so make sure you get subscribed if you aren't already to stay up to date. We are also going to be spending a lot of time testing these said vehicles over on Twitch over the weekend, so be sure to come join us over at twitch.tv/kamikaze78. We will be streaming from 9 AM Australian Eastern Standard Time on both Saturday and Sunday, giving the NSO Overhaul a thorough run for its money on the live server. As far as both of these vehicles are concerned, the Chimera is an extremely mobile battle tank, and while it can't rotate on the spot like, say, the Prowler and the Vanguard can, it really does seem to handle the terrain over axis quite well with its wheel-based design. It's very tall, so that's going to be interesting to see how it takes cover in live battlefield environments as well, but its main weapons seem incredibly potent and it looks like a very fun vehicle to play with. The Dervish has been a little hit or miss at the moment. It does produce an extremely large profile to hit, and it does seem a little slow overall, but I need to get a bit more testing done with this aircraft, so again, that's going to be a focus over the weekend for me. The NSO Defector, aka the Max Suit, has also had some additions to its armory that give it just a whole lot more use cases on the battlefield. Namely, it has access to a D7 Hummingbird, which is a modified grenade printer designed to ward off enemy aircraft with lock-on drones, as well as the D11 Detonator, a long-range anti-armor artillery shell that increases damage the further it travels, which is going to serve to be an interesting counter to long-range armor barrages and, in particular, locked down prowlers. The Defector has also received new visuals and has the ability to equip emergency repairs and Max Suit specific implants, so finally that bug has been fixed. The Javelin Hoverbike, also known as the NSO's original ESF, has also seen some updates to its gameplay with a new, more grounded control scheme, as well as a new weapon arsenal that give it way more combat opportunities on the field to tackle when it comes to both armor and infantry. It's got access now to a JVN-30 Salamander, which is a baseline machine gun that comes with all javelins by default now, a JVN MM Nest, which was the old ability slot weapon for the Javelin, which is now a standard anti-armor weapon, and I think it's been reworked a little bit to be a bit more effective. The JVN X3 Hydra, which fires 3 projectiles in a fan-like faction, which is a bit more of like a anti-infantry designed weapon. And we've also got the JVN 50 Celeste, which is a charge-up, high-damage anti-armor material weapon. The Javelin just keeps on giving for meme quality, doesn't it? I'm really excited to see the montages of sniper javelins going on absolute murder sprees. In addition, the vehicle now has a new directive line, and its rumble seat passenger can now swivel a full 360 degrees in the seat. So some pretty nifty changes there. It'll be interesting to see how this thing actually ends up behaving in combat now. I'll be honest, I'm gonna miss the days of the Javelin being the NSO ESF. Like, let's be real, we all love the video of the NSO on the Javelin killing a Bastion with said Javelin and the old Nest launcher. But yeah, look, it's good to see it get a little bit more use cases on the battlefield now. Overall, guys, there's just a lot happening here. NSO also now have voice packs that also have faction-specific filters depending on the faction the NSO operative is on, and a laundry list of bug fixes coming from the patch as well that is specific to NSO operatives. But believe it or not, that's not all. No, we're also seeing some major gameplay and balance changes beyond the confines of the NSO update, some of which are really going to make some changes to the feel of the game more than others. Firstly, I think we can all say that we saw this coming from a country mile away, the Beetlejuice 54A. It's being nerfed. It finally happened. The Uraxium LMG that has probably had more controversy focused on it than any politician would ever dream of getting, it's finally copping a nerf. It's copping a whack. Now, I will admit, it's a pretty small one, all things considered. The cooldown rate on the weapon is going from 240 per second to 200 per second, which effectively pushes the weapon closer to a 5-second cooldown time if you fire the majority of your magazine before hitting the overheat. The more major change now, though, is that if you overheat the weapon, you also have to manually reload it. All of these changes point towards pushing it closer to its perceived role of being a great skirmishing LMG, less so of a crowd control LMG. Part of me still wonders if it shouldn't cool down while holstered, but I want to get my hands on the new version before making that judgment in a live setting, so we'll talk about that again later. But speaking of weapons that we all saw nerfs coming to, and to my Beetlejuice fans out there, if you thought your weapon was being tarnished, wait till you get a load of this. The NSX Daimyo is also copping a whack. Actually, no, it's not a whack. It's being taken out back into a dark alleyway and beaten to death. Like, borderline death. The weapon is having its refire rate pushed from 333 milliseconds to 667 milliseconds. So its rate of fire is now halved. Yeah, cut in half. And in addition, its first shot multiplier has been moved from 1 to 2.66 times, which means this thing is going to kick like an absolute mule. The skill floor for using this weapon just climbed by a country mile, and I feel like the frustration of going against someone with this thing is going to be a little less extreme nowadays, which in my opinion is a good thing. On the other end of the spectrum though, the Saber 13 has actually been buffed to have a more consistent damage drop-off over range now, and as someone who has already loved that weapon, I can only imagine the carnage that I'll be able to bring to the table with it now. The extended magazines attachment has also been reworked slightly to have a downside. It will now increase weapon equip and unequip times by either 15 or 20% depending on the size of the increase of the magazine attachment, which is good because it puts it in line with the forward grip and the flashlight, which also come with inherent downsides whenever you equip them as well. All we need to do now is just see the effect of the laser sight attachment deactivate when you turn it off, and we'll be right as rain for rail attachment slots. And that leaves us with one more key thing I wanted to talk about today. Another elephant in the room, if you will. Rumble seat repairs. As of this update, guys, engineers sitting in rumble seats of any vehicle can no longer repair said vehicle, which was done with the intention of simplifying and clarifying the vehicle balance across the board. Now, obviously, there's going to be a fair few dedicated vehicle crews out there who are going to be a little taken back by this being removed, and I can understand that. But I will be honest and say this. The Valkyrie in particular, especially from the perspective of an infantry player 90% of the time, was ridiculous to go against if it was ground pounding with a dedicated engineer on board. The vehicle's ability to fly in and out of combat scenarios when you dealt damage to it, only for it to repair mid-flight, meant very little downtime. And that decision to pull AA as a result acted more as a deterrence and less as an actual solution. It's going to change the meta slightly here, but in saying that, current rumble seat repairs were already so slow to the point where removing them now to clean up vehicle balance overall sounds like a pretty fair solution. And I will be honest, I think there's been a touch of an overreaction against it being removed to some extent, but we'll see how it plays out within the weeks to follow to see if such a reaction was warranted. So there you have it, guys. I think that's pretty much everything we needed to go over in regards to the integration update that is coming to the game as of today. Now, admittingly, there's a lot more that I wanted to cover, but we're going to be doing that in greater detail in the coming weeks. So again, make sure you're subscribed and make sure you follow us on Twitch to keep up to date with our early testing for these upcoming videos that you guys are going to be seeing very, very shortly. If you enjoyed the video or if you're keen for the integration update, hit the like button. It goes a long way to support the channel. And if you guys are keen, then let us know in the comment section down below what you're most looking forward to in regards to this integration update. Are you going to be making a brand new NSO character today? Let me know, guys. As always, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Peace out, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Take care, guys. Have a good one.